Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Corner to Corner. You know, Rob, I can't do that as well as you do.
It's like, ladies and gentlemen.
There you go.
In a world where wrestling happens every day, on Sundays at 9, we can talk about it and your feelings.
That was the worst Don LaFontaine I've ever heard.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to another awesome edition of Corner to Corner Wrestling Radio right here on BeyondRingside.com, ProWrestlingRadio.net. Holy crap, it's been a little while. I feel like so much stuff has changed, and yet so much stuff has stayed the same. I'm Stan Grubb, and of course, my tag team partner this evening, Rob Hefner.
Holla, 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 holla.
And Brian is tied up with other things this evening. I believe he is working, so we may hear from him later in the evening. I know he had mentioned he might call in.
At least somebody in our triple threat is working.
Hey, you know what?
I mean? Like,
somebody's got to earn that money.
Somebody's got to pay the bills for the rest of us.
That's exactly. It might as well be Brian. He's a hard-working man. Hey, we are joined.
Hard-working man.
Wow.
But
all right, Rob. I mean, we got Motown up in here. Go ahead, man. No?
Moving on.
All right, fine, whatever. All right, we're joined by Eddie Layne. Fast Eddie Layne, what's going on, sir?
In a world where... Nah, I'm not going to do it either.
We all tried, we all failed. It's okay. No one's perfect.
One man.
One man.
One woman.
One harmonica.
One world.
One dog.
One problem.
One truck.
She's gay.
Gay? Hell, she wasn't even happy.
I was going to say 2 girls, 1 cup. Oh, wait, that's not how that works.
Okay. And end scene. No.
And awkward.
So, hey, speaking of awkward, what were you doing Wrestlemania weekend? Oh, that fell flat.
I was sitting at home nursing a back injury while watching WrestleMania. Knowing that my back wasn't the only thing that sucked.
Well, how do we want to start this? Well, let's start. Let's see. Rob apparently just hated it, and he said, screw you guys.
No, here it is, okay? Like,
all right, here it goes. Hot start. Here we go.
When you watch, the going thing has been, can the main show outshine the pre-show, basically, like NXT Takeover? And
right.
When you started with a ladder match for the North American title, how can you top that?
The 6-man ladder match for the North American title on Takeover was phenomenal.
Okay, that's your sound effect for your hot takes.
Damn right. That ladder match blew me away. I can't think of... Rob, can you think of a ladder match that we've seen in recent years that has even come close to being as good as that was?
I mean, like, there were a few moments where they Vincified it. There was a few moments in there where they're like, one person perfectly set. Like EC3, you could see him every once in a while sitting on the side of the ring going, all right, it's my turn now. But
you're right, right. They did Hefner rule it a couple times.
But all in all, I thought it was a great thing. Now, and let me say, before I totally dog it, WrestleMania wasn't that bad. I mean, I thought compared to last year, it was better than last year. My problem got to be, like, granted, when you're paying $60, $70 for these things, you're like, yeah, I'm getting my money's worth.
Oh.
But, like, come on now. Midnight? Now, I don't know if I had a delayed feed or what, but it was midnight until the main event took off.
You may have had a delayed feed, but it wasn't that delayed because it was every bit of 12:15-ish when they signed off. And that's a long night of professional wrestling. I mean, we enjoyed it. I mean, I was over at Brian's. Rob, as he stated, he was at home. So the event itself was good, but God, could you imagine sitting there for that long, Rob? Especially like if you're in the nosebleeds.
Don't forget about the foreplay. I mean, the pre-show.
Oh yeah, geez. Well, and that's the crazy part, because like the cruiserweight title match was tremendous. I mean, that's 205 Live is on such a hot streak right now.
I love that. I mean, the Andre the Giant Battle Royal was nice. You know, for once you didn't obviously know who was going to win. I didn't think anyway. But then you had the women's match, which I missed it because like I had left Brian's house to come home, and when I tuned back on, it was like I didn't know half the people in the ring. But like,
you know, for all the fuss that was made, and this is gonna piss off some people, but for all the fuss and excitement that was there for the women's battle royal, it actually kind of sucked. No, it didn't. It sucked. It was like watching the Diva era of women's wrestling for WWE. It just wasn't good. I get tired of people blowing it up like the women's division is setting the whole world on fire, and then they have an event like that, and it's WrestleMania where you can't really afford to screw up. And it's just like, God, just Calgon, take me away. What the hell are these people doing? Then we finally get the supposed payoff with Bayley and Sasha, only to get, you know, Bayley finally throws Sasha out, and we're like, wow, that's so cool. And then Naomi turns out to not be eliminated. Like that's not a swerve. That's just a bad move. You know?
Yeah, they Russified that whole thing.
That was so lame.
I mean, but I mean that's where you go. I mean, there were parts of WrestleMania that were kind of neat. I loved the set. I loved the way they had it all set up.
Right.
I'm just a big mark on that, I guess. Like I really get tired of when every week when they all look the same.
How about the 3D effects? Those were cool. Okay. I guess Rob didn't like the 3D effects.
Like, the Miz thing was cool. I thought when they had the big 3D piles of pancakes.
That was cool.
I mean, I was like, all right, what? Come on. But, I mean, when you got the midgets in pancake suits running around.
Doing the worm.
You know?
Yeah, doing the worm. I didn't know.
All I'm saying is I ain't taking a pancake from no guy in a suit that has been just gyrating on the ground. You know? But I mean, I think WrestleMania wise, there was some things that happened throughout the night that kept you guessing. You know, because there were some things that you thought were a foregone conclusion. You know? Everybody knew coming in that certain matches were going to happen a certain way, and they didn't. So then it just led me to, all right, how do you go from here? You know? I think the length of the thing was with it just kept, and Jim Ross said it once on his show that he said, you know, when you spend 20 minutes rehashing the last 6 months before every match, that's what makes you basically do the pre-show before every match.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what gets old is like people are like, all right, sweet, you know. But like there, at least you're inside. Imagine next year out the open stadium in New York in April. There's going to be people with frostbite, hypothermia.
Yeah, that. I will say this. I think all of us at Corner to Corner have made, in one way, shape, or form, a commitment that we would like to be there for WrestleMania this coming year. And besides that, I mean, as you get older, I don't know about you, Eddie, I'm sure you'll have a take on this, but as you get older, the opportunity to do that and the logistics of it seems like they make less and less sense, and it comes further and further from being actually put together. So might as well take advantage of an opportunity to go when you have it, right?
Agreed. And if you remember, just after Mania last year, I had tried to put plans in motion to take the Beyond Ringside studios on the road this year for WrestleMania. Because remember, we discussed the hotel room rates on Bourbon Street. It's like,
I remember that.
This week you can get them at a great price. 2 weeks ago you could get them at a great price. WrestleMania week you'd get raped.
Oh yeah,
and
that's the thing. It's like it's crazy unless you're booking it a year in advance. And oh, by the way,
I tried that.
Yeah,
it
still ain't cheap.
The room that I was looking at this week would have only cost $159 or $189 a night. The room that I was looking at during WrestleMania weekend, check in on Wednesday, check out on Wednesday, was going to cost me $300 plus a night.
Yeah, and that's something we were seeing the night of WrestleMania this past weekend. We were looking at it just to see, what would the cost be, and I was like, geez, oh flip. New Jersey is already like, yeah, we're cashing in. We're cashing in big.
But see, New Orleans, and this is something that a lot of people are going to get irked about. New Orleans had one major advantage that very few other cities in the United States can offer. They had a pure entertainment district that was right there within arm's reach of the Superdome. It's like in Birmingham, they have built, in my home market of Birmingham, Alabama, we've built a nice little entertainment district, or at least restaurant district. It's got 8 different restaurants. It's called the Uptown District. They've also put a nice little thing in there called Top Golf. Place has been breaking bank. I've got to get over there one of these days. I was over that way this evening. I went by Texas de Brazil. It's a Brazilian steakhouse, all you can eat format. Hello. God, don't even. Rob normally cringes when I start talking about what was for dinner. Guess what? This would be the day you don't want me to run down the checklist. You'd sit back and go, damn, is he still alive after that? Yes, barely. But New Orleans would have been the perfect place because I don't know of another major metropolitan area that has that type of entertainment district that people can just get together in during the entire week. And that's why I really wanted us to be able to go down there this year. And, my dream was to broadcast live from a balcony on Bourbon Street. It's like, hell yeah. Let's have fun.
Yeah.
But
you, me, everybody else is.
Yeah. I mean, that would have been a great time. But unfortunately, life does happen. And in my world, it happened. It was like the mule just couldn't get out of the reflex action of kicking me in the cods. So, hey, we'll leave it alone. So, unfortunately, it just didn't work.
Well, I kind of agree with you. I mean, the fact that New Orleans, the way I looked at it is New Orleans offers something for the person that maybe you go and your spouse isn't a huge wrestling fan. There's other things to do in the city of New Orleans. Like I have fortunately been there twice or 3 times, and I've loved it every time I've gone to visit the city of New Orleans. And logistics wise, I mean, you're literally across the street from each other. All the venues are literally across the street, down the road from each other. Like, it's not like, hey, the Hall of Fame is, on that side of the city,
right?
And it's everything is right there. Which New York, New Jersey, it's gonna be interesting to see. Like, I mean, any wrestling fan worth their weight would try to go to a WrestleMania if they can. Mm-hmm. But it's like what makes it the WrestleMania is that whole experience, like the whole access and the whole the Hall of Fame show, the NXT Takeover, all that. Like, that's what, So, hey, you never know. I'd love to be able to go, but
well, it's kind of
like to eat.
Yeah, there you go.
Right.
Because the cities like Santa Clara, California, Dallas, Texas, we're going back to the New York, New Jersey area, MetLife Stadium. You have the field down in Orlando, and it's just, or Miami, I'm sorry. And lo and behold, it's like you don't have that district, that place where people can just really get together. And things are more spread out there. Because you're going to be going MetLife for Mania itself, but the rest of the events are going to be held, the old Nassau Coliseum, where things got changed around or something like that?
Actually, to me, isn't it the Barclays Center?
That's it, Barclays, Brooklyn, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, the Barclays Center is a great place to see a wrestling match. You've seen all the events they've had there, so they certainly have success. It's a great crowd. It's a raucous crowd, to say the least. I think what concerns me is going to be the transportation between the two venues. It's just I'm anticipating that that's going to be a tough deal. But I mean, I'm going to make every effort that I can. I know that Brian is as well. We're going to make every effort we can to get there. It's just, to Rob's point, you want to go, you want to get there and get into all of the, the fan events and everything. But God, you got to eat. You got to be able to pay for your hotel.
Yeah, no.
It's just.
You've got to be able to live when you come home.
Yeah, I mean, you got bills to pay too. Yeah.
Not all of us are that long-haired dude that sits ringside every week.
Right.
God knows what he does, but
lottery winner.
Anybody would want to go to WrestleMania, and that's the thing. I would want to go to WrestleMania, but then again, I don't want to sit up next to the flagpole that the helicopter hit to make sure the helicopter doesn't hit the stadium.
Oh,
and
boy.
Everybody looks like I'm watching an 8-bit graphic game.
I mean, I think the seating is really going to be. It's really going to be all about, one, it's the experience, depending on what you're paying for it. And I think that there's outlets right now that are selling because they're anticipating buying ahead of time. Yeah. So, there's those venues. There's, of course, as you get closer to them actually going on sale, you'll have StubHub and all the other spots that are going to be selling them. I think, honestly, it's just a question of, it's, pardon the pun, of access. If you're sitting in a position where you can see the ring and see the matches, I think you're good to go. But to Rob's point, if you're sitting towards the back end of the stadium, you don't want to stand up too tall because God only knows what's going to happen when they do the flyby for the Jets.
Yeah, get a real buzz cut.
What's that?
Get a real buzz cut.
Yeah, right? There's that, and then there's, of course, he says the obvious point, it's April, so what's the weather going to be like? For me, and I've talked to my girlfriend about it, and we're looking at it really and seriously going. But if anything, if we truly do go, it's going to be most likely just for WrestleMania, the event itself. I can't anticipate seeing, from a cost perspective, going to Access, going to NXT, going to the Hall of Fame, as much as we would like to. Cost wise, you have to pick and choose.
Yeah, and then you got situations in place where you've got other companies that are going to be there that weekend in various venues. And it's like, okay, let's put the world in perspective. Friday night, do you really want to go to a Hall of Fame induction ceremony, depending on who actually is getting inducted? Or would you rather go to a Ring of Honor live event or WrestleCon, Combat Zone Wrestling? Yeah, what was it, Impact versus Lucha Underground you had during part of WrestleCon? So, you had companies up there that were bringing in top-flight stars, and not to mention WrestleCon, the convention itself. You had everybody from Goldberg, Sting, Heartbreak Kid, Stone Cold Steve Austin, so many stars from not only WWE, but also around the world in pro wrestling. So it's like, do you really want to invest in, sorry, Vince, you're not paying me to say something nice or anything at all, and I'm just being honest. I'd rather go to WrestleCon and do the photo ops than go to the Hall of Fame ceremony.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's kind of like how we would have. I think that's similar to what we would have thought when we went to Charlotte. Wouldn't you think so, Rob?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you want to go to WrestleMania. Like, if I was to do it, and I had the money to do it and everything, I would do NXT and the main show.
Yeah.
That would be the main thing that I would go to. And then kind of like we did with the NWA Legends Fest in Charlotte. You go down, and I knew I was going to get the autograph from Arn Anderson, Nikita Koloff. I was going to get Animal. Those were the definites. And Magnum TA.
Yeah.
Those were the definites I was going to get. And then I was like, you know what? I just happened to be standing next to Lex Luger, and nobody was in line, so I was like, all right, here.
Well, yeah, and of course, you go to those events, you get there, you have a set plan. Like, we all pre-purchased our tickets for who we wanted pictures and autographs with, but then, of course, we all, I think I can speak for all of us safely. We all overspent like crazy because if it wasn't a belt, if it wasn't merch, it was other people like Rob mentioned, Lex Luger, all these other people that are there, or we're getting hoodwinked by
right
at stage.
But then it's like like certain people, like you get something and you're like, oh wait a minute, I really want an autograph from that person. Oh wait a minute, I don't have any cash. All right, well here's $20.
Right.
We float that out, and that's how I think that would go. Is like, unless you went on one of those WrestleMania travel packages, which they have available.
Right.
They do sometimes. Like where your lodging and all that, and then the tickets to the events. Like because I would personally think after, the Hall of Fame show, if you go to that, if you not, and you go to like WrestleCon or Combat, one of the other shows, then you go to NXT, then you got WrestleMania, then you got Raw, then you got SmackDown. You know what? I think you're pretty much wrestled out by Wednesday.
Yeah. Yeah. I completely agree. I mean, when you look at it from all of the action that's going on, plus all of the indie shows, all of the signings, just so much.
Because in typical Rob, Stan, and Brian fashion, we would not just sit around and be like, "All right, we're gonna take, we're going to this thing. We're going to NXT tonight, so we're just going to kind of take the day." No, we wouldn't.
Right.
We'd be like, "Hey, so and so's over here, and so and so's over there, and oh, wait a minute, if we go to Access for 20 minutes, we can do this and get this and that and this." Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's the craziness of being a professional wrestling fan in a society now that is just overwhelmed with cash grabs. So I think we would not only be broke, but we'd probably be, judgments for garnishment. It would be that bad.
You know what I mean? But it's like,
yeah,
it's almost the safest bet for someone to do, like you and I would be to go up for the main show and just go up for WrestleMania and then come home.
Yeah.
Like New Jersey it's not that far. It's like 4 or 5 hours away. You could drive up, hit the show, come on back, and if you get too tired, stop somewhere away from the WrestleMania event.
Right.
Pay a normal price for a hotel room. So I mean that's what you could, because give yourself a budget. I'm going to buy a WrestleMania themed merch. I'll buy, because I hate to tell these people, it's the same merch that you see everywhere else.
Yep.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like people
I would
are
probably
losing
get
their
the souvenir.
marbles.
I'd probably get like the souvenir cup, that they do for sodas. I'd probably get the T-shirt, and I'd be good to go with that. Because unless there's, because nowadays there's so many different meet and greet and signings and everything that happens outside of these big shows, you almost don't have to go to Access anymore. Especially since most of our favorites are retiring. God, if that doesn't make us sound old.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I've started to get this little thing about a date on a T-shirt. Like after the year passed, you really don't want to wear the shirt that says, WrestleMania 34 when it's now WrestleMania 37. Like
right.
But
that's a valid point. Hey, Rob, you know what? We do have to take a quick break here for our first break of the evening.
We do?
Believe it or not, folks, we will actually talk more about WrestleMania. We got tons of stuff to cover this week, of course.
Oh, yeah.
So stick with us right here on BeyondRingside.com, and we will be right back on Corner to Corner.
You want to get raw on Monday nights? Tune into the Beyond Ringside Radio Network at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 8:30 Central Time for the Midnight Black Mass Podcast. Myself, the Reverend Dan the Dragon Wilson, along with the Strong Style Psycho Tank and Andrew Alexander, bring you a truly blood-curdling experience. Uncensored, uncut, and only on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network.
The To Be Determined Show, live every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time on this very radio station, Beyond Ringside Radio Network, BeyondRingside.com, ProWrestlingRadio.net, as well as the Beyond Ringside Radio app. Join myself, the Oracle of Ominous, the Architect of Intellect, the Wicked Nemesis, and my producer extraordinaire, Fast Eddie Layne.
That'd be me over here.
My co-host, Joshua O'Hagan.
Kitty got claws. Meow.
My much better half, Angie Nemesis.
Come join the madness.
This is not safe for work. This is your warning, parental advisory. If you have any kind of heart defects, make sure you listen because they will take effect when we go live. I promise you that. For everything outside of wrestling and a little bit of wrestling and hardcore to the bone, we are the To Be Determined Show.
Howdy, friends. It's the Magic City Motor Mouth Fast Eddie Layne with your invitation to join me, Mark Mabo Bowman, and Brooks Logan Sunday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern for Beyond Ringside Live. Wrestling, mixed martial arts, sports talk, and a whole lot more. Find us on BeyondRingside.com, ProWrestlingRadio.net, and the Beyond Ringside Radio app for Amazon, Android, BlackBerry, and a whole lot more. Once again, that's Sundays, 6:30 p.m. Eastern for Beyond Ringside Live on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network and ProWrestlingRadio.net.
What's up, everybody? It's Stan Grubb for Corner to Corner Wrestling Radio and the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. Hey, join us every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as the triple threat of wrestling radio goes live every week, giving you their thoughts and opinions on the world of professional wrestling. Myself, Brian, and Rob, all live, all here for you. And as my good friend Rob would say, from corner to corner and pillar to post, we bring it to you every week at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. BeyondRingside.com and ProWrestlingRadio.net. Welcome back, everybody, to Corner Wrestling Radio right here on BeyondRingside.com. And, of course, streaming, as always, through ProWrestlingRadio.net. We will be available for download and on-demand through Spreaker.com, most likely towards the end of the evening as everything finishes up and as soon as we get it uploaded. So, hopefully everybody's doing well in this post-WrestleMania week.
Yawn.
Apparently, Eddie is tired of WrestleMania and ready to move on.
No, I just...
Well, when you own a radio station and probably every show that's been on the radio station has talked about WrestleMania, he's probably like, okay.
I'm going to sit back and say that 6 hours and 45 minutes of WrestleMania were actually almost fun and worth watching. And then you had the final 15 minutes that pretty much was... Oh,
well, I mean...
We were expecting Roman Reigns to win how? And from that vantage point, we were so tired of Brock Lesnar having the championship and a no-show belt holder. And then we find out less than 24 hours later, Brock Lesnar has signed a contract extension, and he will be defending the belt against Roman Reigns at the Greatest Royal Rumble. So we get to see that horse caca one more time.
Yeah, here's the thing. Watching WrestleMania, I agree with Eddie there. The night was actually pretty solid. There's some things we could have seen different. We'll go over that here in a little bit. But the main event, as a Roman Reigns fan, I've taken an absorbent amount of abuse from my co-hosts every single week, all the way up until Mania. And then by that point, I'm finally like, okay, you know what? These guys have worn me down. I'm finally at the point where I agree.
Nobody cares.
Right. So Roman gets to the ring and gets the piss knocked out of him from start to finish.
Not just the piss, but like the other stuff.
The fecal matter.
All the body, like, I mean.
Yeah. Just waylaid for 15
minutes. He got beat like a ragdoll.
Then he gets bloodied the hard way. And I mean, straight up, just like Brock did to Randy Orton, just elbow after elbow. And I mean, Rob, I can't think of the last time that WrestleMania actually had blood.
No. I was very shocked The color of red it just kind of made me weird because I was like, wait a minute, what? It's supposed to, but I typically thought that it was going to have the typical Roman Reigns match. Like, I thought it was going to be one of the last couple times where it's like he gets his butt whipped for 20 minutes, 15 minutes or whatever. Then all of a sudden he does the miracle Superman spear.
Cena.
Like, he's been F5 500 times and suplex 15 times, and then all of a sudden, spear, dud, Superman punch, new champion. Because, when he did that at the end, I thought, oh, here we go.
Yeah, when he hit the ropes that last time, even though he was bleeding like a stuck pig, I'm thinking, here it comes. Here comes the spear. And then he get caught with a boot, right?
Yeah.
He didn't even hit the spear. He just catches him with a foot and then hits the F5. And I was like, damn. They actually switched the finish, even though, wow. That was a surprise. I was pleasantly surprised, but then I started to wonder. I was like, wait a minute. We get it now. We get it off of the guy who's a part-timer, and we put it on Roman. It's all the time. At least we see the belt every week. Or we keep the belt on Brock, and then we never see it again.
I mean, was I, as a non-Roman Reigns guy, was I happy to see Roman Reigns not win it? Yes. Was I happy to see that the thing we were told for the last year that was going to be Roman Reigns winning it from Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania didn't happen? Yes.
And now we get
Did it make sense? No, because now I'm like, now what?
Now we get to see him win it at in Saudi Arabia.
And that, in and of itself, has caused a lot of angry fans.
Yep.
First off, this is a country that does not allow women to perform. They were able to do it when they went to
the UAE.
What's that?
They went to the UAE.
Yeah. So United Arab Emirates, they went there, and the women wrestled. They were just covered up, right?
Full body suits.
Yeah, full body suits. So they wrestled, and they made history, and WWE celebrated it, and it was a big deal, and everybody's like, yeah, this is so cool. And now, where they're going, we're basically, if you remember back in 96, it was a paid-for show by a member of royalty over there.
This one is too.
And, what's that?
This one pretty much is too.
Yeah. So it's basically a bought show for WWE, and the women can't participate?
Nope.
So that's kind of dumb. You made all these strides, your first ever Women's Royal Rumble, the Women's Elimination Chamber, and blah, 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 blah.
Dare me.
Oh, but the greatest Royal Rumble ever is... Yeah, no.
Dare
you're
me.
not invited.
Dare me.
Well,
Please, dare me. Better
I
yet.
don't know, Rob. What does he want us to dare him to do?
I don't know.
Rob, you dare me.
It's his show. He can do it anyway.
No, it's not my show. It's just my network. It's your damn show.
Oh, wow. He just dropped it. Oh, this is my network.
No, he said it was my show. No, it ain't my show. It's my network. It's your show.
I have the power to pull your show off my network.
No, I would never do that.
It's my server, beyond.
Is this Ted Turner? Are we working for Ted Turner?
Hey, Vince, I own a wrestling company now.
Well, that's great,
It's
Ted.
$5 Fast Eddie.
Get it right. It's $4.99.
So, here's the thing. I mean, you get all these different types of history-making moments in wrestling nowadays, and here's an opportunity to really make history. And I mean, from everything I've read,
You
they didn't
really
even
want
put
to
up
do?
a fight.
You really want to do this, don't you? You really want to do this?
Rob, what's he talking about?
Oh, just let him do it, Stan.
All right, go ahead, Eddie. What are we going to do?
We live in the United States of America.
What?
We live in a country where women went through suffrage in order to gain equal rights. That does not mean, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. And please accept these words all the way across the board. Just because we do it here doesn't mean other countries do it the same way we do. And for
wait a minute. That's just silly talk.
And
are you trying to tell me that we are not the center of the universe?
We are not the center of the universe. Remember, Saudi Arabia, for a country its size, produces more oil than we do. And remember, they are one of our they are technically one of our friends, but they are also one of the largest. Stop that sentence right there. I'm not going to go into that department.
Yeah, don't do it. Don't you do it.
State sponsors.
Can I tell you what I would like to have seen?
Please.
All right. If they were going to go with Brock winning, okay, then why not? Still go with the whole angle that he's going back to the UFC or whatever. Him come out on Monday, been like, I told you I was going to beat his ass. I beat his ass. And he drops the belt in the middle of the ring, and he walks away. And therefore, Brock never lost. And then they're already going to do the greatest Royal Rumble ever anyway.
Make it for the belt.
You have 50 people in the ring, and they do it for the title.
Yeah.
That would have been nice.
You could still come back and say Brock versus Roman for the war that, to end it in a cage. Let the best man win. Roman, if you win, you get a number one contender slot.
See, let me also give you one other little thing about this thing about performing in Saudi Arabia.
Ew, no. I mean, okay.
Remember, their standards toward people are totally different than the standards we have over here. We are a much more open and, depending on who you agree with, tolerant society. They do not have the same rules in place as we do. They don't have the same guidelines in place. They don't.
Am I the only one thinking about the logistics nightmare for this?
Yes. No, you're not.
I mean, normally you got a small group of 10 wrestlers that go over.
Oh, remember when they did
or whatever?
Yeah, remember when they did the troop show, the first few of them from over in the Middle East? They had a core group of 20 that went. Then you had a couple of referees. The announce team didn't even go over.
Right.
They did it in post.
So now you're sending obviously you've got to send at least 50. You're
sending at least 75 because you got
plus the ring crew,
and
plus referees, plus the agents, plus the TV crew, plus because it's going to be filmed live on the network.
Now here's something else, and we
if
don't
you want to be up at God crack it on.
Right, but here's the thing: we don't normally get into politics, and I'm not really trying to go that direction. But here's the thing: isn't this like one of those situations they kind of warn you about?
Yes.
Large gatherings and possible attacks and.
Oh, I thought you were going the different way.
Does anybody actually brief Vince McMahon on the actual possibility that this is a bad idea?
No.
Especially since we just started an attack on a foreign country.
Look,
I don't want to get into politics, but at the same time, I mean, can we maybe put some logical thought here?
This is 2018. Nobody thinks logically and rationally anymore. It's all knee-jerk reactions that you go turn around 5 seconds later and bitch about it on Twitter.
Hey, what I do on Twitter is none of your business.
Wouldn't talk about you, dillweed.
Yeah. He's a dillweed.
I was going to go that 70s show and say dill hole.
Bong hole.
Yeah, it's so funny. I
am the great cornholio.
I am the great cornholio. I need teepee for my bung hole. Where I come from, we have no teepee.
Yeah, but as far as the politics of the situation are very clear. I mean, look, you have so many things going on right now in that region or in parts of that region.
Right.
But remembering the fact that Saudi Arabia does have a fairly good military, and if this is a bought show by the prince, not Prince, but the prince, if he came back from the grave to buy that show, I'll kiss his ass. But...
And so would Vince.
And a purple ghost. There you go. But... there are so many things involved in this show, and I mean, first off, I'm happy they got the deal. And Vince is going to make dollar on this one. He's probably going. The gate is probably 60,000+ people.
Well, here the problem I have with it is more of a philosophical than anything else.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
congratulations. He's about to make bank off this event because merch is going to fly off the shelves.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's going to fly because he'll find a way. Plus, they're going to...
Oh, you'll print it. What you do is you print all the shirts that he has for the wrestlers in English. He'll print them in the native language of that country.
Exactly.
Sell them in there, but then he'll sell them online as an exclusive from the Greatest Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Offer not valid if you're trying to go back and recapture the old Enzo and Big Cash shirt of SAWFT. It don't translate.
Well, that's because...
That's why Enzo got bought.
We don't have to worry about that since he's gone.
And the other
All
one's
I'm
on
saying
the
is-
shelf sitting at home going, my baby's the women's champion.
And we will run through some predictions for the greatest Royal Rumble ever. We will go ahead and do that.
Oh,
but
wait.
I have to admit, I have an issue with setting an event up like this. Just to me, honestly, it just doesn't seem safe.
And
It doesn't seem like safe business.
your tag team partner brought up the fact that Big Cass's so-called squeeze of the week is the SmackDown Women's Champion. Please say that one more time, Rob.
Well, she's a woman. She wants SmackDown Women's Champion.
I actually enjoyed the cash-in. Congratulations.
My problem with the cash-in was the ref was playing it too long.
Yeah, he did.
Yes.
And that was
I'm
Kyoto,
like-
dude.
Come on. Whenever somebody's cashed in, they've never been like, are you sure? Are you sure? You take the briefcase, you ring the bell. You don't actually wait till Charlotte, see if Charlotte can get up.
Yeah, they've never really been very good about how they sell that.
Ziggler.
Well, Ziggler, they didn't tease it. He ran out and did it. Like, they teased it before, but what I mean is, like, when he cashed in that night, he slapped the briefcase, he handed it to the ref, pointed to the timekeeper, and that was it. They just did it. You know?
Yeah.
Like when Miz cashed in, same thing. There wasn't, are you sure? Are you sure? No, he did it. And it's just, I'm happy to see the cash-in was done. It made sense it was done against Charlotte the night after, especially after the big shock of Asuka's streak ending at WrestleMania. I'm still not clear as to what that decision was based on.
Easy. Same people that created the Undertaker streak ending.
Yeah, I mean, eventually you have to wonder if it's a Vince call thinking he's going to make more money off of Ronda and Charlotte, which I think that matchup will blow us away. Holy crap, Ronda Rousey. I mean, dude. Now, granted, Stephanie does bump with the best of them. In a wrestling sense. Let's put that out there. But I was really impressed by Ronda Rousey. I mean, Rob, were you expecting Ronda to do that well?
I wasn't expecting it to be as polished as it was.
Yeah.
I do think we have, I hate to say this, but, she was in the ring with Stephanie McMahon. I think that was the reason why.
Yeah.
Because they have so much invested in Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
But she was able to deliver on what they wanted for her. Actually, I thought the person in the match that looked out of place was Kurt Angle.
Yeah, he did not look healthy.
I mean, it just looked like he's just like there. He's like it. Hey, this is a really bad. It feels like to me that Kurt Angle's filling that Ric Flair role right now. Like he's the older guy that they're like, all right, let's bring him out, and he'll wrestle around, and he'll get his butt whipped, and and it'll all be over.
Okay.
But
can I argue?
Mm-hmm.
If Kurt Angle had genuinely been Kurt Angle in that match, it might have outshone Rousey.
Well, I mean, you got to take that into account because, there was a lot of Kurt opening the door and then Ronda shutting the door.
Right.
So, but when she got her in the thing, and then he got Triple H in the angle lock, and it's like, oh, come on, really? But I was impressed with Ronda Rousey. I'm excited for what she can do. Now, if she can deliver in the second match, if she can keep going, great. My only thing is she needs to get more wrestling inspired ring gear, if that makes sense.
Yeah, although I mean, I wasn't expecting her to come out and try that hard to be like Roddy Piper, but I dug that. I thought that was a cool look. But yeah, she needs to maybe get some ring gear that isn't going to cause her to do so many adjustments, every couple seconds. Because I think she was pulling at her shorts pretty much all the time she was in the ring.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
She was running at a breakneck pace, but yeah, that was kind of annoying.
Do me a favor. I'm gonna steal your spotlight for about a minute, guys, because both of you dill holes totally overlooked something I did over on my personal Facebook. And Brian, if you were here, I'd go ahead and call it a trifecta of dill holes. I'm gonna read the post that I made on my personal Facebook.
I am no hole.
Okay.
Yeah, or dill.
Dill half. Now, for those who have me on Facebook.com/Fast Eddie Layne, this was not posted over there. This was actually posted on my personal page, which, sorry about that. Quote, all right, wrestling fans, and to my compatriots in and around the business, let's talk. I've watched social media since WrestleMania went off the air, and I've seen all of the comments made about different in-ring performances throughout the show. Most of you, in my opinion, are missing something. One person that has been overlooked as far as ring performance at Mania, and you can boo me if you like, is Stephanie McMahon. Considering the overall lack of public in-ring appearances that she has on her resume, she did remarkably well. One, she looked the part. Abandoning the billion-dollar princess look that she normally carries as the chief brand officer, she went for a much different style of outfit. Personally, I thought she looked awesome in the gear that she wore, and it helped her show and build a different side of her personality. Is somebody playing Kesha or Whitney Houston behind me right now?
Yeah, I'm hearing inspirational music while you're talking. Eddie.
Yeah, I know. It's not me doing it. I swear.
I'm sorry. I'm listening to Carrie Underwood because it's her first public performance since she got hurt.
Oh, okay. I was about to say. But from there, I
don't see any scars. But
2,
I will say.
Let me finish this out. It won't take 30 seconds. 2, she worked her role in the match to a T. She never exceeded what she was physically able to do in the ring. 3, her facial expressions sold the moments beautifully, and I do mean moments. Now, this one should be the easiest for her, obviously. How much microphone and camera time has she had during her time in the business? Given that one. For all of my brothers and sisters in this industry and the couple of dill holes that act like my friends on occasion, I actually put that. Hey. We all know that in the heat of the moment, we don't always get it perfect. When an authority figure takes the ring for a match, especially one who doesn't have a lot of real ring time in the ring, which of course is totally opposite of real ring time on the roof of the ring, it's always a wild card. You never know what you're going to get. Now, those who know me know the fact that I'm not always a Stephanie McMahon fan. I'm the first one to say when she comes across too heavy-handed, too long-winded, or too excessive in her promos. I'm just saying that her performance Sunday at Mania was very notable. That is my side of the coin. Gentlemen?
Wow. I mean, geez.
I will say that Stephanie's persona that she had at WrestleMania is the same persona she gets at WrestleMania. Like last year when she came down to the ring with Triple H, she was wearing almost the same outfit with that very I am the queen bee. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's how she came to the ring. She's like, you know what? You asked for it. I'm here. You know what? I got it, and I have to give it to you. And that's why I think it was great for her and Ronda, for her to be Ronda Rousey's first public
foil.
Because if Ronda Rousey would have, it's kind of like Asuka, okay? Like if Asuka would have beat Alexa Bliss, I don't think Alexa Bliss could have recovered. If Ronda Rousey came out and crushed Carmella or crushed Naomi, one of those, it would have been the end of the road for those guys, those ladies. For her to come out and everybody got to see Ronda can go with You know, everybody got to see what they've been wanting to see with Stephanie. You know, so I mean, it served the purpose, it accomplished the goal, and you saved all of your full-time ladies for down the road.
Yeah, I mean, here's the long and short of it is, myself, Rob, and Brian were all kind of like, I don't know, it's really going to be egg on the face if Ronda can't keep up. And I think a lot of it was based off of what we saw with how she debuted, as far as at the Rumble and taking light off of Asuka's win, and it just seemed like, man, that just wasn't. They didn't seem like it made good business sense from a fan perspective. Then we saw her come out during the Elimination Chamber. She signs the contract, and again, she gets the microphone, and she just kind of comes off, and it's like, wow, this lady doesn't even seem like she's ready. And you know, we get there, and yeah, Stephanie McMahon, had it been anybody else, I don't know that Ronda would have looked anywhere near as good. Stephanie McMahon did a hell of a job making sure that Ronda was put over in not just a big way, but also in the right way, so that going forward she's able to perform at that high level and become a credible threat, because she made, to Rob's point, the Queen Bee tap out, and on Monday Night Raw after the fact, snapped her arm again, basically humbling the boss after everybody else has had to basically bow down to the Queen. So, yeah, I mean, Eddie, you're not wrong. She had a hell of a performance. It's continuously had hellacious performances in the ring when she has to. I mean, look at what she did against Brie Bella.
And do me a favor. Before you hit the top of the hour, I want to ask if either of you noticed the notable difference in the entrance this year.
You mean for the McMahons, for Helmsley and
Yep.
Stephanie?
Yep.
Yeah, they chose to tame it down rather than amp it up. Most years when there's a matchup for Triple H, there's that entrance that he has. You're actually looking forward to it from one year to the next, because you're like, man, what's he going to do next? I mean, he's done the Terminator, he's done like the Gladiator bit, the King of Kings, all of that. And instead, they kind of stuck it to something that was actually, I want to say, almost identical to last year's.
True, but Rob, want to take a stab at it?
Well, I mean, there's a bunch of NXT people that are pissed because they were hoping to be Terminator.
Yeah, no.
But,
Yeah, right. Good point.
You know, like, I have to say, all the way around, a lot of the ring entrances at WrestleMania were more subdued.
Yes.
And were more in tune to the event. You know, I thought last year when they had the big ramp and he brought the big bike out, it didn't fit. You know, or when they were in California and they did the big Terminator gig, like, why? You know, but
I thought it was cool.
It was.
I thought it was fitting that Charlotte had her entrance the way she was, because just a few years before she played, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've seen the pictures.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, I thought that was great, because that's like, all right, she's come full circle. You know what I mean?
Yeah, very much so.
The point that I was going for, you were both close. Last
But
year,
we're wrong again.
Last year,
Meet the
when
president.
Stephanie,
Thank you for playing Nowhere throughout that incessant rambling. Did you scratch the surface of the rational thoughts?
you're wrong, but you
We're
actually
all
did.
dumber for listening to you. May God have mercy on you soul.
If you remember last year in Hunter's match, Stephanie was his second, theoretically, valet manager second, and she rode on the back of his bike. And this year, she was his partner, and they rode matching bikes. I thought that was cool as hell.
Yeah, I still think they tamed it down just to make sure that they didn't overshadow Ronda and Kurt. Because Kurt's the only guy that had pyro.
Yeah.
Yeah. See? They gave Kurt Angle his actual entrance. I was like, wow.
Goldberg had pyro.
That's right. They did give Goldberg pyro, even though he came out in that weird leather suit. Yeah, that was weird.
You know, the people that were out there standing on the carpet next to him were like,
Yeah, right?
I guess the burns.
I'm burning.
I got to take this suit back.
Oh, by the way, speaking of Hall of Fame, what about JJ and his little comment?
Talking about how he could probably get an opponent before Cena. I thought that was great.
He said, I think I could get a match at WrestleMania before John Cena. It's like, yes!
That was pretty awesome. That was pretty good. I will say this. When it comes to Cena and his role at WrestleMania, boy, did they drop the ball on that. That was just, jeez. You got a guy like John Cena, he's getting ready to just make a mainstream transition to Hollywood and really just step away. You got to capitalize. You can't. I don't know if maybe there was hesitation from The Undertaker and he just wasn't sure until the last minute. Man, you just can't. Just such a whiff. You just missed with that one.
I mean, my thing about it is if you're going to play that whole, all right, The Undertaker, blah, 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 right? You totally just Ronda Rousey Charlotte.
Yeah.
Her beating Asuka.
Yeah.
Then he's like, what? And then he runs through the crowd, down the ramp, through the back. I mean, what they should have done is he should have come out in his gear, sitting there, like, I'm waiting. You know? They could have done the whole thing like, hey, Undertaker, you still got time. I'm here. I'm ready. Let's go. Let's do this. But it was like, then he runs to the back, and then he doesn't come out for, 30 minutes or so? And he's in his gear.
Yeah,
like,
that was just...
I'm here. I was told he's here. But anyway.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and we'll...
Here, go ahead.
Yeah,
I'll shut up. Or will I? No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
We'll go ahead and we'll take our top of the hour break. When we come back, we will continue to break down our thoughts on WrestleMania weekend and the night after WrestleMania. We'll also be talking about the most recent contest that's been going on. Not contest, but I guess you could say competition or whatever, on Corner to Corner's Facebook page about the greatest Intercontinental Champion and how the votes have been shaking out for this one. It's been an interesting competition, to say the least. Stick with us right here on Corner to Corner. We'll be right back after these messages.